Hello and thanks for joining the Thursday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Veronica Danik-Boy. Let's remind you that it's 120 days to the conduct of the 2019 general election in Nigeria. And as each passing day brings us closer to the all-important elections, we will always be here to give you in-depth analysis of events shaping the race to the polls. Today on the program, Rowdy session in the Senate over seat as Akpabio insists on change in leadership of upper legislative chamber. Senate demands suspension of ATM cards maintenance fee, other charges, and later on the show, APC, PDP and other political parties in last-minute race to beat INEC deadline. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Ismail Omikbidon and Asupo James. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Well, Journalist Hangout starts now. The uneasy and delicate calm that enveloped the National Assembly over sundry matters like leadership of the chambers was on Wednesday punctured. Trouble began when an attempt by the senator representing Akwa North-West, Gospel Akpabio, to respond to issues regarding political situation in his state was rebuffed. Senator Akpabio fumed over this, leading to altercation among APC and PDP senators. The undercurrent which fueled the Rowdy session later came to the fore when the former Senate Minority Leader insisted that there is the need for leadership change in the upper legislative chamber. Let us take you back to the Senate for a tip-off for what transpired on the floor.
The rowdy atmosphere was a fallout of a point of privilege by Albert Akman, senator representing Akwa Ibom Northeast, who accused the APC in the state of plotting to foment trouble ahead of the 2019 elections.
The plot by the APC in Akwa Ibom to cause mayhem that will lead to the cancellation of the forthcoming governorship election in our state, so as to mobilize what the so-called federal might, to distort the peace of the state. We only bring this to your attention because we believe that as the people, as the party, we are ready for a peaceful, transparent, credible conduct of the next coming election. All I am asking for.
Godswill Akpabio sought to respond to the allegation using the microphone of his closest neighbor, Ali Ndume, since the one on where he was sitting did not function.
Order for the day. You cannot.
Akpabio, a former minority leader, defected to the All Progressives Congress from the People's Democratic Party in August, while the National Assembly was on annual recess and has since not been allocated a new seat. Saraki insisted that Akpabio should move to another seat where there is a working microphone.
There's no senator that is allowed to speak if there's no microphone. So there's nothing that has been done to you that is different to anybody. All I said, go to a place where there's a microphone, you can speak. Distinguished colleagues, let us make progress on issues that are important. These issues that if there's been a senator that have allowed to speak without a microphone, state. It has never happened in this chamber. All we said is there's no microphone where you are, go to a place where there's and you can speak. Now you have the floor, speak and let us make progress.
What evidence does he have that there is a plan on the part of APC to stop election in Akwa Ibom? What has happened here is a question of the aggressor trying to play the role of a victim. Since my defection to the APC, Akwa Ibom people have moved in their thousands, in droves, into the APC family. So I can tell you today that even though the government in Akwa Ibom is a PDP administration, the voters in Akwa Ibom are more than 80% APC. There is need for us to restructure the Senate. I'm sure you know that. There is need for us to have seats. It is not behind where I sat today is my very good friend, distinguished Senator Shitu. It was after the little noise in the Senate that he told me that he's now in the PDP. And I said, so why are you sitting here? So don't you think there's need?
Then the House leader rose in Akpabio's defense.
We have the standard of how we sit or how arrangements should be.
The leader later apologized for his utterances And the Senate President, on his part, assured the legislators he was not being vindictive in any way. Saraki subsequently directed the Senate clerk to allocate a seat to Akpabio by next week.
An interesting one there, Jide. What do you make of what happened yesterday?
From what I've seen, the Akpabio Senator, Albert Akpan, who used to be Akpabio's boy, planned an effective coup against his former boss. And how did they do it? Once you are allowed to speak under Order 43, there can be no argument over what you said, because it's just like for your information. Something you say, it's just like something you say just for the information of the. It cannot generate any debate. It cannot generate any controversy. Let me quote what is in Order 43. By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon the explanation. So you cannot generate any debate based on what he has said. He knew that. So, and he also knew that on Wednesdays, the Senate usually beam their proceedings live. So all of them were just grandstanding because they've seen TV cameras. So Albert knew that he was going to say something that would make Akpabio unhappy, that Akpabio would want to respond to. But he came under Order 43, by which Akpabio cannot respond to what he has said. So that was a problem. You will have observed that at the time when Akpabio even wanted to speak, they kept saying, look, Order 43, just to remind him that, look, you cannot react to this. And then Akpabio sat where there was no mic. So the Senate President called the clerk of the Senate that, because he claimed that was the seat that the clerk assigned to him. And the clerk said he asked to be allowed to sit there. The Senate has now become a place where people choose to sit where they like. But if you chose to sit at that place and there was no mic there, naturally you should find somewhere else to speak, because the mic is important, because the recorder needs to place on record your whatever you say, your contribution on the floor. So you can't sit where, one, people can't hear you clearly, or where your submission cannot be recorded. So why Akpabio chose to go and sit in that place is a question that only he can answer. But the clerk cleared on the floor that he was the one who asked that
to sit
let me sit here. And the clerk would not come and overrule the senator, oh, you cannot sit here. That was what happened. But ultimately now, given the directive that the Senate President has made, Akpabio has to find somewhere else to sit. You cannot, as a senator, move away from and be sharing someone else's mic. It doesn't happen. I've never seen it. So some of this unnecessary storm in the teacup that our lawmakers generate on the floor are just unnecessary. Busy yourself with discussing substance. Busy yourself with discussing substance. Things that will make our country move from glory to glory. Not talking about, you know that you can't talk at that point. You knew. And at the end of the day, you saw that even the Senate leader eventually apologized, because there was really no need for this. And Albert, if Albert was in my house, I would say you are a naughty boy, because he knew what he was doing. He wanted to provoke Akpabio, and he came under an order that would not allow him to. Yes, he achieved his aim. Well, frankly, to the primaries of the APC in Akwa Ibom led to loss of lives. Those were reported, even pictures were published. So they have to clean up their act. The party must stay together, organize itself so that in future it can truly challenge the PDP in that state. And you can only do that if you do not resort to violence. So I think they should take on board that advice.
All right. Out of this, there was a call for the restructuring of the seating arrangement. But one wonders, is that necessary? Is that important with regards to the proceedings that matter most to Nigerians?
Yeah, well, it did not only call for the restructuring of the seating arrangement, but it also called for the restructuring of the leadership
yes.
of of the Senate.
Which is a way of saying, let us have a new Senate president. But they told us he will bring 20 senators to APC. I've been trying to hear that. So let's start with him. Let him first give the 20 senators to APC.
The truth is, as someone who had covered that place before, each senator is assigned to, where you sit. So that at every point in time, where, in fact, at some point, if you are not on your seat and you want to make contribution, the presiding officer will ask you to go back to your seat. From your seat, you make whatever contribution you want to make. But you see, for me, I saw what happened yesterday as a dress rehearsal for what will likely happen in the days ahead. Because don't forget, before the resumption, there was a lot of heated arguments. There was a lot of tension that they were coming to change, the leadership of the Senate. However, on the resumption, we also saw what happened. And the next thing they told us was that it was for national interest. But let us place on record that in as much as some of us may not, we may not like the presiding officer for whatever reason, but the truth is that there's nothing that is happening today that has not happened in our recent history. Tambwa was in PDP when he defected to APC in 2014. And the party leaders justified it. I recall very well that the National Publicity Secretary of the party issued a statement saying that there was nowhere in the Constitution that says that the majority leader must come from the speaker must come from the ruling party. So if we agree on that, and that is what it is, I mean, why the noise about what is happening today? I think rather than begin to belabor ourselves over a change of leadership of the Senate, which I don't see coming up soon, I think our lawmakers should busy themselves with how to move our country, forward, especially because we no longer have time. Election is just around the corner.
Yes, they already know that they have a few months, about 7 or 6 months ahead. Yeah, and they promised when they resumed that their focus was going to be on national issues and not personal interests. But just a few days on, it is about party politics, which is seeming to raise its head, Asuko.
Yeah, exactly, because if they had agreed that, okay, they would drop their partisan politics for the national interest. I wasn't expecting that, what happened yesterday. But I think some of the senators are still not happy to see the Senate president, presiding over the Red Chamber. Because to some of them, and to most of us outside, is a member of PDP. But in the Senate, they feel is not a member of the APC because he has not announced his defection to the PDP. And I think that is where Akpabio is coming from, trying to get angry and all that. Because every other person that defected actually sent a letter to the Senate president informing them that, okay, I've now moved from the APC to the PDP, or from the, like he himself, like Akpabio did, he said he moved from the APC from the PDP to the APC, and he actually sent a letter to, and it was read on the floor of the House. So he was even saying afterwards that he did that in the interest.
I think he resigned during the recess.
Yes, and he resigned.
If he resigned during the recess, then
he resigned during the recess. I don't think his letter had been read.
They didn't read any letter. Yes. Okay, so all those things are part of it. So he has. I think they still have that deep-seated hatred for them, for one another.
And those two guys from your state.
No, those two guys from my state, they know they know each other. Yeah, so that is why, if I were to be the Senate president, I would just tell them, when you get to your state, you go and say to yourselves, because what they are saying,
have to work together.
Because what they are saying for national interest, yes, but I tell you, when they get to Akpabio, it's a different thing. because they know each other so well.
And the stakes are higher now.
And very high.
Very
you know,
high.
they know each other because the Albert we are talking about was his commissioner for finance.
Yes.
So he knows. So just like Jide is saying, he had to, pep him up so that he would be angry. And if you look at the entire video, Akpabio was really angry.
He was.
It's just that he's more matured. The only person that, if you see the entire video was like a childish person, I was behaving like a child, was Dino. Moving up and down rather than sitting where you're supposed to be. He was just moving up and down, shouting, and
that's his nature.
You now start wondering, why not just sit down?
Because they know they were being recorded.
Why not just sit down and so that everybody will. So for us, the national interest matters than any other thing. And if Saraki has decided to, push forward the issue of let's face what we came here for and leave our parties or our own personal interests, let them face it. Nigeria needs to move forward. They have just 5 months for them to do whatever they want to do.
Will they really face the national interest with this deep-seated, so to speak, anger or rancor towards one another, where we still have issues about party lines still coming up?
You see, there is no way there won't be disagreements like this. For example, in Akpabio, Akpabio wants to impress the APC leaders. He's given the impression that, he's the biggest dog in the yard. And these guys are not comfortable. I mean, the governor of the state and the people like Albert. Albert sees Akpabio as a leader who does not protect the people under him. That, when there's a problem, he throws you under the bus. Because they have had issues with the EFCC in the past as a former commissioner for finance. So the animosity is there. It's a personal one. It's a personal one, and he just looked for an opportunity to try to anger his former boss a little bit. But the bigger battle in Akwa Ibom will continue to weigh heavily in their minds. They know that, look, the stakes are high, and they don't want Akpabio to win. Akpabio, in his own case, he likes to talk, and he will say, look, I'm the one who can do it. I'm going to bring all the people, everybody is defecting. But at the time when he was joining the APC, contrary to what we had, we saw that only 2 House of Assembly members joined him from his state. Only 2 House of Reps members joined him.
Perhaps others are coming on the way.
When the elections are over, people wanted to defect. At that time, defected. Yes. You saw Tambwa when he was defecting. You saw the lawmakers from join him from his state. How many lawmakers went? The people who went with Akpabio were the people from his constituency. And then 2 commissioners who went to receive him, 2 ESCO members went to receive him. The governor fired them. Yeah. That's all. So the kind of hoopla that went with his joining the APC has diminished. And he has not brought the quantum of people that many people thought he would bring. Because even people like Albert will actually have joined him.
Yes.
How come from that state is the only senator?
Perhaps he didn't make as much impact while he was there as
governor.
No. I think
as a
many
leader.
Many things before you can get people to defect. What kind of relationship did you have with them from the beginning? Exactly. It's not a relationship that will stop at some point, and then when you need them, you want to go back and get them to come. No, they will see you as someone that they cannot work with, that they cannot trust. So this is the issue. Then I also think that many Nigerians look forward to Saraki being impeached. And we said repeatedly that the conditions make it highly unlikely.
Very, very unlikely.
But you see, emotions rule us. Emotions rule our heads as a people. So, he must go. And then at the end, you can't find a number. Today in that House, in that Senate, APC has 54. The PDP, they have 50. ABGA, I think 3 also. Let me see. Okay, ABGA 2, ADC 3. You and I know that ADC and ABGA, In fact, this woman, the former minister of aviation, is
she has
on the way
back
to PDP.
No, you know, she has even run back. It's just that the PDP people too refuse to accept her.
That's why, because I wasn't sure. That was why I said she's on my way.
They refuse to accept her.
Yes. So if she materializes in the final list now as the candidate of the party, that's PDP, then you can say that PDP has 51 already.
Yes.
Then the 54 that APC has, are we sure that all the 54 will be ready to vote along their party line?
It's not
because contrary to the promise that Shomole made to them, a lot of them are not coming back. So if the Yorubas have something that Otisuja, meaning that I don't know, to translate this is very difficult, that even to fight, they won't
fight itself is tired.
Fight is tired. So you come at that point, people are determined to remove this man.
Yes.
And then the primaries
honestly didn't
happen in a way that will now make it extremely difficult. Look at even Fatima Rajirazaki, who left, who defected, defected to the APC from the PDP, because all three from Ekiti used to be PDP. They've taken a ticket and given Akpabio Bamidele. All the senators, all the APC senators from Niger, as we speak today, none of them can say he has a ticket.
Yes.
They've taken all their, they lost. Yes, they've lost their tickets. And it's like that across the state. Look at Ogun. I think, apart from Buruji Kashamu, who in fact is the PDP outcast,
is on his own.
There is nobody that is coming back amongst these people. They've taken their seat. Yes, so even Tejo Osho was really confident, who was saying, no, I'm loyal to the president. They've taken his seat. The governor wants his seat. If you don't want the governor with the 3-story cap to produce the governor that will supplant him, at least his own Senate seat that he wants, you must give him. So now Tejo Osho's Senate seat will go to
that one is said. That's
so who is left? When you have a situation in which about Omowurare too from
Oshun,
Omowurare, who was removed by Saraki, and who has not been on Saraki, because Saraki has not been. If he decided to stay on party line, APC, support APC, then Saraki punished him. Today, Omowurare has lost his ticket.
So you think that person now will now come?
Who are the people now that you want to? Let me tell Nigerians, these senators are not prepared to remove Saraki. They had an executive session on the day of their resumption, and it was resolved there and then that look, all these party matters that divide us, no more. Let's just focus on this, which is a way of saying we will not remove this man. And Adodogwa, the whip of the House of Reps, even told us that removing Dogara is not even on the cards. So people should not begin. If this thing has happened, they should just
let deal with it.
How many months we will have elections, Saraki will go. So, but to think that because of all of this grandstanding that we are seeing Akpabio and Co doing, that they will remove this man. Akpabio can announce till kingdom come that there must be change, this and that. Let him lead the way. The 20 senators that they told us that he was bringing, let him bring those senators. Let us see whether he has them.
All right, quickly, your final word.
Well, my final word on this is, like Rowdy has said, the APC leadership as a party and should remove it from their mind that they still have this project of removing Saraki or even Dogara, because it's a project that can never be actualized. So they should just face governance and see how they can manage 2019 if they eventually win the election, to ensure that the type of situation they found themselves will not arise again.
Yeah, definitely, because we have moved past the removal of Saraki. So national interest first. And if they have decided that, okay, it is national interest, let's believe them. We just have 5 months. Then from there, all of them are still going back to battle either for them to come back.
Some of them have lost the battle.
Some of them have even lost the battle. So let's just
move on with other national interest matters. All right, when we return, the Senate demands suspension of ATM card maintenance fee, other charges. Stay with us. Well, endemic corruption in our system as a country takes various forms, and ordinary citizens bear the brunt. From embezzlement and misappropriation of public funds to illegal charges, the masses are being shortchanged in one form or the other. For some time now, bank customers have lamented over high and multiple charges, but relief seems to be underway as the Senate has decided to beam searchlights on all manner of fees charged by banks in the country. At plenary on Wednesday, the lawmakers decided to probe illegal bank charges and called for outright suspension of ATM card maintenance fees. But who enforces the ban? Chidi, is this coming a little too late? For some persons, this is coming a little too late because this has been on, and can this really be enforced?
No, I don't think it's coming too late. I would rather commend the Senate, especially Senator Ashafa, for bringing this up. We've been ripped off far too much in this country. Remember, the CBN came up last year to say that 65 billion naira was illegally deducted from bank customers over a period of 3 years. That is all that they know. There are bank customers who get ripped up routinely who do not complain. Some of us, once we just see alert, we don't check. If there's over deduction on your account, you wouldn't even know. Some of us, we don't go to the bank to even check.
The deductions are so little that you may not also notice.
Yes, and then they are so frequent. They are so frequent that you now ask yourself,
get tired of checking.
do you know that in some banks, they could be clearly nibbling away at your account, just nibbling away like a rat, and you will not know that they're actually stealing from you because we don't check. How many times have we said, okay, you are the one managing my account. Can I have my bank statements? Just to even have
Except
a look.
when we want to
Has
travel.
anybody made an illegal withdrawal? You know? So banks are feeding fat on the rest of us and coming up with profits that are not in sync with the economic realities. And this is the bit that really bothers me. Some time ago, I think it was during Sanusi, they asked this question, that why are banks allowed to charge customers the way they do? And he was talking about the fact that look of infrastructure deficit, no electricity, banks are 24 hours, the generator, and all of those things that add to their, running costs and all that. So the burden has to be passed on to the customers. Yes, definitely the burden must be, some of the burden must be passed to the customer. But to attempt to pass all of the burden on the customer is what leads to these illegal charges, and then these funny withdrawals that these funny charges that we see in form of card maintenance and charges for withdrawal.
Yes.
No, that one has always been there. For SMS you pay, is it 4 naira also for every time you are alerted, you have to pay. But banks are now, they've configured their machines to not dispense more than 20,000 naira at a time.
Yes,
and they now go for lower notes like maybe 500 naira.
UBA does that.
So the more you visit the ATM, if for example I need 80,000, it means that I will be in front of that ATM for some time because I will have to withdraw.
You even get it if it is 500 naira that is dispensed. You won't get that 80. You get 40.
And then you have to come back.
Yes,
so the idea is to make people come back, and the more you visit the ATM,
the more you
money
pay
you
the
pay.
charges.
So the question is, Is that what happens in other lands? Is it consistent with international best practice? And some Nigerians who have worked in the UK, who have lived in the UK and America, are saying that it is only here that people are charged so-called maintenance fee on their accounts.
All right, now, how will the CBN, or do you think that the CBN would toe the line of this call by the Senate to enforcing this?
I think in the past, if my memory I believe very much that I think CBN has always obeyed resolutions by the National Assembly, except where the president on its own decides to issue a counter order. Because I know that it took the intervention of the National Assembly, for example.
If you could just hold the thought, we have Austin on the line calling from Lagos. Go ahead, Austin, with your contribution.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to appreciate the topic people are discussing. It's a very good one and it's for national interest. What I want to say is the Senate, they have done a very good job by giving that order to banks not to deduct that illicit charge, because I call it illicit charges. And this is what executives should have done by all their orders, all their order is not affecting the Nigerian masses. For this one, everybody is rejoicing. So I want to ask those that are distracting the Senate to stop it, because the senators, some of them that have good way are ready to work, but there are some distractors. What Akpabio is doing is a script from the leadership of APC. So they should visit and allow those that are ready to work to work. So I want to commend the senators for that action. So it's a very good one. And the executive should learn from the National Assembly, because their order is not even affecting the masses. So when you say,
all right, thank you, Austin, for your contribution.
So as I was saying,
yes,
in the past, I know very well that the CBN has always respected resolutions by either the Senate or House of Reps. Like I was saying before the caller came in, there was this period that I think there was this issue of using young girls to do marketing. Then it was very, very rampant.
Yes.
I took the intervention of the Senate especially to stop that, and CBN, put its feet down. So I believe very strongly that except where the president decides to give a counter order for whatever reason.
Like those, that the money that they found in those in that Koyo.
So except
they wanted the CBN governor to come and explain.
So
except the governor said, look, this is a security matter. It's money
except there is a counter.
Except
there is a counter order. I believe very strongly that the CBN.
So I'm sure that the CBN governor will go there.
And if you listen to the last speaker very well, you agree that this is one thing that resonates well with Nigerian masses. I tell you, some persons, if they are living in, say, around this area, they won't mind to go to Ikeja, to go to their own bank because of that 65 naira.
Yes.
That's to tell you how, so for me, I want to commend Senator Ashafa for deeming it fit to even bring up the motion at all, and commend the Senate for the line it has told.
All right, Asukwa, the Senate said it must work, and to ensure that this resolution goes beyond the debate in the Senate, what actions can they take to ensure that this is brought to full effect?
First, I think they have already summoned the CBN governor. So if they're inviting him to come and explain, I think he should be in a better position to enforce that, the order, if I will call it order anyway. Because Nigerians, you can see from the reaction, everybody is happy. Because you can't go to the ATM and you want to collect 500 and they are charging you 65 naira. And then some ATM, you can't withdraw more than 10,000. you know, if it's not your own bank, you can't withdraw more than 10,000.
Or
So
15. Or 15. FCMB
you know, you have to be there and start withdrawing and withdrawing and withdrawing.
Mentioning of banks, we wouldn't
You
like
know,
to mention
sorry.
banks. Yes.
The more you withdraw,
the more 65 naira you are paying. So and these things don't happen because I know the people outside, the Nigerians in the diaspora, they are saying that over there they don't pay charges for anything. The only charges they pay is only when you spend your overdraft.
I think that Nigerians, I was reading something, they said CBN in 2017 increased the maintenance fees charged by banks
from 100
on
naira
debit and credit card maintenance from 100 naira a year to 50 naira per month, which is 600 naira a year. So it moved from 100 naira a year, the maintenance fee,
to 50 naira per month.
To 50 naira per month, and then 600 a year. The leap, the increase is too high.
Very high.
Naturally, it should have led to protest.
Yes.
But like they mentioned, they have to fuel.
Elsewhere, people they will have been resisted.
Yes.
They have to fuel their generators. They run on generators 24/7 and all of that. So if they don't make these charges, how do they fund?
There are other ways that banks make money. There are other ways that they make money.
Banks make most money from giving out loans.
Yes. If you don't give
they are not traders.
Yes.
They are not traders. They can't begin to look for money the way a Dangote, who is involved in buying and selling,
want to
make money. You have to, if your bank is healthy and you provide good services, people come forward, they take loans. From those loans, and you must make sure that those loans are secured. Yeah. From the loans, you make hefty money. That's where banks make money. You can't be, all of these things that they are just, they are the poor people. You imagine a man who does not want to take more than 10,000 naira, you know, in the bank, and he still has to pay. He still has to pay, even for that little service.
And because of that little service,
and you still make us to pay.
If his money is maybe 10,000 and 20 something naira, he may not be able to withdraw that money. He will have to withdraw maybe 9,000 naira or less.
Of course, because of that, the charges. That's what happens actually.
You understand? If you see some of these old men, they will stand and be making noise in front, as if the machine can even respond to them.
So how can you be billing someone for making money? Is money that you use
to make money
to give people loan from which you make so much money in form of interest. How can you be causing that person to still pay you?
Pay you again.
That is the thing. It's illogical.
It's illogical and sad.
So
but
they have the Senate
this
has
should
to be
make
on
them
they have to be
the
on
banks be on their toes.
Yeah,
exactly.
They have to devise other means because this one, I'm sure this one will be pushed through.
Well, if they challenge them effectively, I'm sure they will do it. Just the way the customs, when they were saying that they will be stopping Nigerians on the road and checking for their and if you, what kind of thing was that? The Senate stopped it. So I'm sure that even the Senate can do something.
All right, now the race for political power in our jurisdiction is never an ending one. In an attempt to be on top of their game, politicians engage in perpetual race to beat one deadline or another. With only a few hours to the end of the window provided by law for submission of names of candidates for the 2019 election, political parties are in the last-minute struggle to meet up. As at Wednesday, only about 17 out of 91 registered political parties had reportedly submitted their names of their candidates to INEC. The two major parties, that's the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, and the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as well as others, are yet to comply. Are we having another Zamfara situation on our hands, gentlemen?
I don't know.
12 midnight is the deadline.
Yes. See, there was even no need to now begin to do things in a rush. It's just down to the selfishness of the average Nigerian politician. There was a 50-day window. 50-day window. Within 50 days, these guys couldn't do primaries that are rancor-free and come up with candidates.
First, the APC and the PDP, they were monitoring one another. Oh, I won't do primaries before you. Because they were eyeing each other's members. Oh, if this person loses the primary,
he can come
here.
How did we come to that? Because that was what APC profited from
in 2014. Yes.
December 2014. When some people, after losing the primaries in the PDP, went to the APC and they were given tickets. APC amended its constitution to allow for anyone who joins the party to be eligible to contest even within 24 hours. They did that, targeting the big guys in the... Because they are a new party.
He lost PDP primaries and he became a candidate.
Many of them, like the governor of Kebbi State, the president called governor of Kebbi State, because they shot him out in the PDP, he ended up in APC. And APC welcomed him with both hands. Today, he has become governor. They needed those big shots because their own party was not strong enough at that time. But with those big shots coming in, the APC became stronger. So now in this last this last primaries, Oshomole and others kept postponing the primaries. Oh, governorship primaries will now hold on so time. They move it again. Oh, the senatorial primaries. They were targeting, they didn't want PDP to feast from their own crisis, especially the National Assembly. So they kept moving until at a point I said, look, you these funny people, you will end up doing this thing the same day. So at the end of the day, you cancel each other out. You cancel each other out. You cancel each other out. So who do you want to poach now? But now you have a situation in which even for all that time that they had to do those primaries, there are still outstanding issues. Oshomole prides himself with ability to organize people. He will now see clearly that organizing labor is different from organizing party. Because politicians are very, very incorrigible, very stubborn. No matter if it is a strong head that you, Oshomole, has, you will now see that among politicians there are people with stronger heads than you. You see, if you have madness, you will see people who have greater madness than you. You can imagine what the governor of Zamfara said, that if Oshomole shows up in Zamfara, that is going to kill him.
Yes, the security cannot.
So he said, well, it's that bad.
But Frankie, what happens for the Zamfara issue where the INEC said they can't field a candidate?
It's unfortunate. I've been following the Zamfara debate, even on journalist anger, the period I was, at home, and I quite followed some of the arguments. Some people don't even understand what the issues are, but I think Babajide has been able to put the issues in proper perspective. You see, the problem in Zamfara is this. INEC did not monitor any primaries.
Yeah.
And since INEC has not monitored any primaries, APC cannot feed any candidate in Zamfara. And that has been the position of INEC. Now, at a point, the party leadership came up with the issue of consensus. Now, consensus, even as it is allowed in the party constitution, it must be done,
the consent of everyone.
Consent of everybody. Everybody must agree. So, where was the meeting held? And everybody agreed. You hear Marafa's argument that, look, to the best of his knowledge, nothing happened. So, it's so unfortunate because as it is,
city gates.
as it is, I don't see if it were possible, I'm sure either Marafa or the governor and his group would have moved to another party to run, and probably, but as it is,
time is against them.
Time is against them. Time is against them.
How about
I don't know.
Except if maybe a party, well, we never can tell. Maybe the party allowed them to.
It's possible. Doing
it is when they submit that we know.
Yeah, doing substitution. After tomorrow.
Can they substitute?
No, they can. Substitution can take place. Substitution can take place so long as any member of that party does not go to court to challenge it.
That was what saved Otom.
So
because Otom will have been disqualified at that time. But other people called
yes,
them.
they were the ones who saved the situation. But they had even approached the court, they had to withdraw the case from the court.
How about in Delta State, where the court temporarily banned the party from presenting any candidate? What's going to happen now?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing that will happen because right? That is the same issue about...
I think data is different from Zamfara.
No, that one is different because this one is held. But some people are just
challenging. The case will run its course.
It just run its course. So what it is is that a candidate.
Anybody who has been...
When that has been challenged?
No, it doesn't matter. A name is already with INEC. A name is already with INEC. Nobody can substitute it until there is a court verdict saying that that name you have is not the correct name. Come and take the correct one.
That is when they can now substitute. But
there can be no excuse to not do primary.
I don't understand.
In 50 days. There can be no excuse, honestly. And if we can't organize our political parties the right way because we are selfish,
that's the word.
It's not a good sign at all. It will discourage people from even getting involved in party politics.
If anyone had said that APC will find itself in this, I probably would have beat my chest to say no. But what I've come to realize is that Nigerian politicians, they don't learn any lesson from the past. They don't
even when Oshomole was challenging, telling INEC that no, we have a consensus candidate. Governor was saying we had primaries.
So that one was
there was a conflict.
I mean, they should at least be able to
so if they are able to agree, but there's no way they can come together.
Hold on quickly. We have Ade on the line calling from Ogun State. Go ahead with your contribution.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. My name is Ade Adikun, calling from Abeokuta. Hello?
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah. I just want to make a contribution regarding the bank charges, which was earlier discussed. Yes, inviting the CBN governor is not the solution to the charges which the bank is being made. The Consumer Protections Department, they need to do more regarding the charges. The charges the commercial banks are charges are many. For example, now, like UBA to UBA, if you are making the transactions, you pay 20 naira, which either yes or no, which they are going to charge you, which is supposed to be so. Initially, there's a department in all the branches of CBN nationwide, whereby if you have extra charges being charged, you go to the CBN there to lodge complaints. Because people are not being attended to, or their complaint is not being attended to, that's why a lot of customers refuse to go there. The charges now we've been charged is too much. You cannot make a withdrawal more than 10,000 naira in most of the ATMs points, which means that you have to pay 52 naira 60 kobo on each transaction. It's too much. So the CBN governor will not honor the invitations because it's beyond his jurisdiction. Probably maybe the commercial banks, they have something they do to the CBN, whereby they don't watch the big stick on the commercial bank.
All right, Ade, thank you for your contribution.
So, as I was saying, Zamfara, I don't see how they can align because the governor has his own candidate. He's a commissioner for finance. Senator Marafa wants to run on his own. Then some of the cabal within the party, they are the ones promoting Daud Alawa. So there is no way.
There is so much money that
there is no how those guys can come.
They can make people run mad.
And you know, when Babajide was talking about the selfishness of our leaders, the Ogun State scenario, the governor caused it by himself. Because if probably he had allowed re-primaries to take place at the onset, he probably wouldn't have found himself in the situation.
Yeah.
But when you just sit down somewhere and you don't list,
and then you announce it,
that
is not consensus.
It's not consensus.
That is not consensus. And you see how he played himself. I pity him.
The way Shomole said it at the end of UC, they said if you are going for consensus, then there must be no dissenting voice. If there is a dissenting voice, then something is wrong with the consensus. No, and you are not going to achieve that because remember, even after the so-called consensus arrangement, Ashiru, who was one of the governor's commissioners, was the first to say no. I am contesting.
And, so at that point, their party constitution is very clear. If 13 stakeholders, for example, meet on consensus and one person says, let us go to election. That is the end of that consensus arrangement. You must go to the election. That's what the party says. The party guidelines for their party, that's what it says.
But Asoko, one wonders, these two parties who have been, in this race, still finding themselves struggling with issues like this and yet to submit a list. What examples are they laying for other parties? Because it's surprising, really.
It shows how the country has been run in the past how many years that they've been, and Nigerians now have 91 other political parties. But from what we've seen, I think 17 of the 91 political parties have submitted names. So we have 17 political parties that we can choose from. The big boys.
Nobody will choose from.
The big boys.
The smaller the party, the easier to resolve issues. The bigger the party, the more difficult it is to achieve unanimity. Because you have all kinds of tendencies. Look at within the APC, for example. There are different tendencies contending against one another. The CPC group is still there.
It's still there.
The old ACN group is still there.
Like Kaduna now.
Well, which one will be better?
Like Kaduna now.
If they can't resolve their matter now.
Kaduna now. The party has resolved.
The issue, the problem is, hold on a bit, the problem is, once, because it's the ruling party, everyone thinks that whoever becomes the candidate of the
automatically
APC
wins
automatically will win
the election.
So in places like Borno, for example, that is a one-party state.
In fact,
if you win the ticket, you know that you've won. So that is why people will do everything to make sure that they get.
Okay, quickly, we have a call on the line. Daya from Kaduna, are you there?
Yes, Pius.
Bayo, all right. Pius, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Baba today.
Good evening, Pius.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
It's a nice one.
Thank you.
You see, in this country, the kind of politicians that we are having, they are only there for their own selfish interest, not for the interest of the nation. Look at what is going on in Kaduna, more especially in APC. The governor has cornered everything to himself. He has arrested his own delegates while the national wants some people to stay. And look at what happened. And going back to the issue of Zamfara, Abdulaziz Hayari has been given 8 good years by the people of Zamfara. He has finished. Instead of him to leave the people of Zamfara to choose whosoever they want, he refused. And he caused crisis. And now they are in for it. And I urge INEC to insist from APC creating any candidate in Zamfara.
All right, Pius, thank you so much for your contribution. Yes, you wanted to quickly touch on the Kaduna.
Yes, like I was saying on Kaduna issue. Before the primaries, the stakeholders met under the governor's own, faction to say that because they don't have a party register, they cannot do direct primaries. Yet they did direct primaries for the presidential primary, and they did indirect for. Now the party has insisted that Shehu Sani remain the candidate. Quote me: the party will work, the government will work against Shehu Sani's election in the general election and ensure that he loses at the general election.
And then that will be.
If it is a wish, what we don't want is for them to rig the election. If it is the wish of the people, because Shehu Sani is not as unpopular as some people are saying.
No, he's more popular than Ubasani, the candidate.
Yes.
No wants to fit.
We know. So if the people don't want him, this is a man who defeated an incumbent senator, a retired army officer, and he became the candidate of the party. Shehu Sani is popular.
Yes.
But if the people say they don't want him, fine. Not that a governor will start playing God and say, no, you cannot do it. Even when other party leaders have said, we forgive this guy, you people are saying he abuses the president. But the president welcomed him, he forgave him. Yes. So if you love the president, why do you want to kill yourself over a matter that the president has said, look, I forgive you, my son. So what is the issue? So someone sent me a message about the court, the judgment. What the court said is that they should maintain status quo. The court did not say accept list.
It just said maintain status quo. what was on ground before the case started.
There was nothing.
There was nothing. No candidate. No consensus.
So I saw the message. I was just laughing. We had already discussed this matter 3 days ago now.
Yeah.
So it's not as if we are not aware. But if there's nothing new to report, we cannot.
Let the APC and the PDP, find how they are going to solve their problem. They still have like how many hours? Like a couple of 6 more hours for them to
Someone was confusing
so they have to do it.
this deadline
because they want the election to be
to something saying that they still have. What the man, what the INEC chairman was saying, the deadline for primaries is what we are referring to. That you didn't do primaries within that deadline, not deadline for submission. So if crisis results from primaries, you can substitute. Yes. That is the window that ends today.
And it will end.
Not the window to conduct primaries.
They've not submitted.
Wow. All right, gentlemen, we can only hope and wish for the best for all parties. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your contribution on all of the topics so far. That's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Veronica Danny Boy. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.